Hello and welcome to the Open Resourcery. So, we are continuing our psychic gifts series, and we have my fabulous friend Nebula. If you would introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Nebula, and I remote view and do many other things.
Yes, and that is what we are talking about today. We are talking about bilocation, remote viewing, astral projection. Now, this is something that I can do remote viewing on occasion, but the other two, I'm very much body bound. So let's start with what each of them are. What is remote viewing? How would you describe remote viewing?
Well, remote viewing is like it's a shifting your attention. It's like you're not actually going there spiritually. You're not shifting your consciousness like all the way. You are just merely peering into a looking glass per se.
So it's like binoculars into wherever you're going. It's almost like seeing
That's
it through
right.
a telescope rather than
Exactly.
being there. And I would definitely say yes, absolutely. So then we're going to shift into like the bilocation. Bilocation would be like the next step.
Yes, bilocation is it's it's similar to remote viewing, but you are putting yourself in a state of consciousness of a state of vibration where you actually shift your essence. You shift your consciousness, all of your being to another location at the same time that you are here now. So you can literally do it in your room or anywhere. You will exist in your room and where you're bilocating to at the same time.
Okay. So I've always viewed it as like almost kind of splitting your senses in two
Yes,
and, allowing like one half to go off to where you need it to go and one half to stay present. It always has seemed more like a defensive measure to make sure that you're one, either very grounded in your space so that you don't get lost. And then two, as, a protective measure against like if there are unsafe things or potential distractions and whatnot in your space that you're able to just kind of like snap back to where you are.
that's right.
And then the last one is astral projection. I can't do this at all. How would you describe astral projection?
Well, astral projection, it's like I said, in the vibration sense, it's another state of vibrational self awareness of
Mhm.
a way to be. Most of the time, it happens during dream states or like REM sleep or while you're going to bed. So it's like your mind is rested and calm, but your soul and your essence is still alive and ready to go places. So when those line up just the right way, things will happen to where you can astral project. I have not had much success astral projecting, but I am going to start some different techniques to try to improve it. I do it in my sleep a lot, I think, but for me, it's more like dreaming,
Mhm.
but it's like I can't fully control the outcome. It's like I'm watching a movie, but
Yeah,
I can distinguish the difference between a dream and astral projection. It's like more when you astral project, it's more alive. It feels like it's more raw. There's more
vivid.
data and meaning in there.
Mhm.
Yes, more vivid.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that gets our definitions out of the way. So, let's talk experiences in terms of we're going to go back to the remote viewing.
All right. So, what exactly do you want to know? Like places I've been or seen, or
Honestly, I would like you more so to talk about like your favorite experience, like one of those times that actually like it hit you and you're just like this, yes. Everything about this absolutely yes.
well. I'd have to say it was the first time I remote viewed an alien world, and I was like, "This is really cool. This is insane." Like it felt surreal,
Hmm.
and like it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I was like, "There's an infinite amount of civilizations out there." And there's more than just alien worlds. There's a whole bunch of other things that you can remote view and bilocate to.
Hmm. So in that, I mean, that really goes into kind of almost like a multiverse talk, which physics
Exactly.
has proved, yes, that does exist.
You
So,
can remote view other alternate universes, alternate timelines, alternate futures, the past, the
mhm,
present, and the future, and even alternate pasts.
absolutely. I would say that with my own psychic gifts, like in terms of my mediumship and um, being a working psychic, I would say that remote viewing is probably one of the stronger aspects because I'll just see things and it's just like I have a physical picture. What is that? I'm seeing this. I'm seeing your cat. Your cat has white paws. That's very cute. Um,
Hmm.
but I won't get like the full picture. Like I won't get the full scenery or that whole thing.
Yeah, there's one important thing that you should do when you're remote viewing or
Hmm.
bilocating is that you need to, unless you're very skilled at it, you need to have less distractions as possible and have your mind as clear as possible. If you have something troubling you on your mind at the moment or anything that's distracting you, the visions and the sight from your third eye and your crown will be fuzzy and you'll have to distinguish more. But you also have to be careful of your imagination. Sometimes your imagination will creep in and it will try to fill in the blanks, but the
Hmm.
best thing to do is to minimize that as much as possible, to just relax and listen to your intuition.
Absolutely. And intuition is, I think, in terms of any psychic gifts, any terms of magical awareness, your intuition is absolutely necessary.
That's right.
So, in that, you've seen literally other civilizations, other worlds, other beings, and you've seen this all through remote viewing. Which one is your favorite?
Oh my gosh, there's so many, and there's so many left to explore. But let me think. Oh, it's so hard to pick. But
I'm like the friend that's sitting over here going, "What's your favorite dinosaur?"
out of the alien worlds so far,
Hmm.
I would say I forgot the name that I had named this planet. I think it's Utopia or
Hmm.
Utopian or something like that. But there was these long neck. Actually, it's funny enough you mentioned dinosaurs, but they
Is it
actually
really though? Is it funny? Because you know me, I just get things and I'm just like, I see a dinosaur. I'm gonna
yes,
mention it.
you
Um,
probably predicted this,
it happens.
but
It's okay.
they have long necks. They look
Hmm.
like brachiosauruses, but they're
Oh,
humanoids.
oh
Yeah,
boy.
and they're very intelligent, and they do have skyscrapers, kind of like ours, but their buildings are more round and organic looking.
Okay.
They're very advanced. Um, they don't wear like a lot of clothes like we do, but they do wear like metal um pants. It's like looks like almost like armor, but they do have tattoos, which is really funny, and they look almost tribal in a way.
It's like civilized tribalism. That's
Hmm.
interesting. And that's such a mesh of materials, honestly.
Oh yeah, it's very different, and they're very peaceful. A really nice race, and they don't use like pen and paper. They use
Hmm.
everything is digital, and it's very high tech. And I remote viewed and bilocated to this world many years ago. This is the first one of the first places I ever went to. The
Hmm.
one that really blew me away, and I actually learned a lot of their language. Like I
Mm.
have it documented on some paperwork. back here that's buried. I'm gonna dig it out one day.
we'll have to we will have to go through the secret files of Nebula.
That's right. It was actually the only language that I've actually deciphered so far. But like some of the words were like uday, which means like hello and goodbye. That's all I really remember. There's a
Hey, I mean,
lot.
if it was from a couple years ago, that
That's
the
right.
fact that you actually remember that is like chef's kiss, perfect.
Hmm.
Um, but you also bilocated here. So in bilocation, are you really able to like interact with things? Are you like what is the limitations of bilocation?
Okay, so for an example, I have communicated with two other alien races on bilocation when I was
Hmm.
doing bilocation. Um, each both of them were actually in a meditative state. We're not the only creatures in the universe that meditate and get into this flow state. It
Hmm.
is a universal thing. Once a race becomes to that conscious awareness, they will figure this out. And when I bilocate to these races, they can sense my presence, and I can communicate with them psychically. And I
Oh,
don't have to know
interesting.
their language. Yes, I
No,
don't
there's
have
a
to know their
universal
language.
language there,
That's right.
honestly.
Hmm. And it's really beautiful. It really is. So when you bilocate though, you can also like smell and taste the air and feel the energy around you. You're
Hmm.
not just looking at it like a TV screen. You're actually like immersed inside of it.
That's awesome. I would say the only experience that I've had potentially as a bilocating moment, like as a teenager. And you know those standardized tests, right?
Yeah.
Um, and they're horribly boring. And I was just done with mine. Everybody else was still going. I was like, okay. And I zoned out. And I remember kind of looking at the door. And you know how classroom doors have that window with like the bulletproof glass in it, right?
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden I was out in the hall simultaneously as in the classroom, and I watched this
Wow.
woman in a red sweater walk down the hallway, and I could hear her heels. I could see everything. I could see her brown hair, you know, her complexion, everything about her from the hallway. And it's weird because it's like looking through two sets of eyes simultaneously.
Yes.
And like my physical set of eyes was watching the window, my conscious set of eyes was out in the hallway. And then I remember seeing with my physical eyes that exact same woman passing the window as she passed the door in the
Yes.
hallway. And it's you have to be like dead quiet during those testing hours. And I just remember sitting there going, what the what just happened? Now, like I don't make a secret of it that I was definitely delving into the occult at the time. That was like my first foray into those types of things, like trying to astral project. I've never been able to do it like consciously. It's never been something that's available to me. The techniques and everything that's out there, I have attempted. And the funny part is I will get the body sensations of like literally it feels like you're lifting out of yourself, and then my
Yeah.
head is stuck like that cartoon version of an ostrich with its head stuck in the sand. And
Hmm.
it's it's so frustrating. I don't understand it, but it's hilarious. So, do you get any like body sensations or any kind of thing like that during those moments, either when you're like bilocating, remote viewing, or astral projecting?
Oh yeah. Let's see. There's two different times that I bilocate, and I can bilocate while I'm at work
Hmm.
and while I'm doing my work duties because I've been doing it so long. It just becomes natural for me. I could just go on autopilot here in the physical realm,
Hmm.
and I could shift part of my consciousness to another alien world while I'm like, making lawnmowers on the
I
factory floor.
mean, that works. And when it is a absolutely mechanical process within the body and you have that muscle memory,
Mm-hmm.
yes, absolutely.
Exactly. Makes it so much easier. But when I do it at home, when I can do it in a more relaxed manner,
Hmm.
and it becomes way more intense. Like you can feel more, taste more, smell more, hear more. My body becomes numb. Like it almost feels like you're not even in your body anymore, but you
Hmm.
can still, your brain is still hearing and and smelling the air and tasting everything around you, while at the same time your essence is somewhere else.
That that to me is the trippy part because I've only had like that one bilocation experience, and my brain still is sitting there going, I can't rationalize any of this.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's we all are blessed with very different gifts, and it's wonderful to have a slew of friends that has the different gifts so that we can share each other's experiences.
That's right.
So with astral projection, you've said that you go completely out of body. It almost seems like a dream state. Um,
Yes.
do, are you like wholly and completely there? I know you said it was like really vivid, and sometimes it feels like you're on autopilot.
Hmm. Um, I have no sense of my body when this happens. It's
Mhm.
like the same thing when you're dreaming. It's like you are gone to your body, even this reality and this dimension. You're just completely disconnected, and your body is just left on autopilot, so your heart and your breathing could stay alive.
Fair enough. Yes, we have to keep the vessel alive.
That's
Um,
right.
that sounds so sci-fi. Um, oh goodness. Okay. Was there any other like experiences that you would like to touch on? Anything that you would be like excited to share?
um. Yes, actually. Two things.
Hmm.
I was gonna mention that I use bilocation to help cleanse people of like demonic possessions and curses and astral parasites.
Hmm.
I shift my consciousness to their location. I bilocate there, and then I do my magic remotely that way. So I use it as a tool to help me cleanse houses and people.
Fantastic. I know you
Hmm.
and I have done this a couple of times together, actually. So
Yes.
that is it. That is a very important point, because sometimes it's not just a solo dolo thing.
Hmm.
It sometimes it takes a village because of
That's right.
how deep in some shiznit some people get.
Oh, yeah. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. Whoever's listening right now, if you are trying to help somebody and you feel like you are being defeated, it's okay. You can't do it by yourself sometimes. You just
Hmm.
need help. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Absolutely, and that's really for anything. There is no shame in it. If you're
Hmm.
overwhelmed, ask for help at any time. This has been a lovely conversation. I will, of course, have your stuff listed below, your TikTok and all of that in your YouTube channel. But this is Devi on the Open Resourcery, and of course, the wonderful Nebula. And we will catch you next time.